like your clothing of head, Meek speaks in broken galactic standard to Simone. In response, the redhead flicks the bill of her newly attained dark grey Terran cadet cap. Adorned on it is a pair of flash protective goggles. Thanks. Haven't actually worn one of these in a long while, but since we're flying right on the border of Terran Union space, it's best for me to blend in as much as possible. These are the most common headwear for colonists far out in these parts. In fact, most clothes we got were military hand-me-downs and surplus, she explains, as she shows off her light grey coveralls with dark blue accents. You... not welcome? Meek inquires confused. Old home, yes? Simone's smirk falters as she scratches behind her ear. I don't know. Despite the handouts, official Union's presence is thin out here, and I wouldn't really call these folks patriotic. But I'm not on good terms with my people's government, and a lot could have changed. Haven't been here since being shipped out to the academy. People are really loyal to each other out here. But it just takes one person recognizing me and reporting it to bring this whole thing into a shit show, the Terran replies, as she turns and fits her plasma colt and holster. What do, if I can ask? Meek presses curiously. Simone bit at her inner cheek. She can't help but continuously extract guilt from what happened. Although she has gained an incredible amount of perspective, the genuine moments everybody in her shared before that operation still felt so very real. They were monsters, but still people. Were they just as used as she was? Just further along? Did any of them have any hope at all of seeing the horrible path they were on? Well, in any case, it's too late now. I did what was right, the Terran finally whispers, though for once she fully believed it, even though there was nothing right about it. Feeling the gravity behind the Terran's vague words, Meek respectfully relents. I much understand. Not in an icy Terran colony too? She asks hopefully. Sorry, but this is going to be a solo mission. I'd rather not risk getting too much attention. Maybe next time. You're catching on to GS real quick, by the way, the Terran chuckles, before patting the disappointed Grat on her back and stepping out of the gym armory. Simone makes her way to the front of the ship, hearing Chognock's boisterous laugh long before she makes visual contact. But when she does, she stops and leans against the wall to witness what's playing out.
And these are the fun controls. At a moment's notice, this indicator will send concentrated cannon fire directly at your target. Pwaha!
Chognock points out with a Wataffling on his shoulder. SJ sits observant to all the dazzling lights and flashes of moving hard light panels. They release low excited hisses as something new or flashy comes up, and even follows a panel around the back of Chognock's shoulders as a panel is swiped around.
Perhaps we'll find the time to have you shoot into an asteroid somewhere, eh?
Hehehe, the old man whispers secretly. Simone smirks while silently shaking her head. To her, this was fucking adorable. Got any updates for me? She asks, surprising the captain.
Ah, Simone, we should be approaching the Lomf system within the standard hour, and perhaps some good news. Checking the updated charts, it appears that the Terran Union has relinquished naval protectorate responsibility to the Mix, so the likelihood of Terran vessels bearing down on us is minimal, Chognock informs.
As if they had any real presence before, Simone mumbles as she rolls her eyes. It's still a joint colony though, right?
In theory, yes. Though it seems their actual authority is...
The captain starts to answer before the redhead finishes the sentence. Next to non-existent. A damn joke, she says, while shaking her head.
A bit harsh, don't you think?
Chognock asks. Our people may be slowly dwindling, but we have the fleets to spare. The only navy bigger than ours is Central Galactic's. They can spare one warship to safeguard a colony. Even a joint one, Simone points out.
Is there a known reason as to why they won't? The captain asks.
The high worlds, tense borders, and valuable trade routes take priority. Sounds reasonable, right? But they want to keep presenting a show of force where it matters most. The galaxy sees us as the warhounds, and it's that image which ensures the Union gets their fair share of the economic pile. And yet, smuggling and piracy runs rampant in the outer colonies, the very places where the majority of other peoples get their first impression of us. Maybe they want the Terrans are to be feared narrative to propagate, which wouldn't surprise me, the Terran answers in rant.
Absolutely unfortunate. But I wonder what state the Union would be in if their military might was put into question,
Chognock poses to get Simone's honest thoughts. We'd become a more integrated member of Central Galactic. We'd be better understood. Our enemies would cease their aggressions because Central would bear down on them otherwise. Our failing populations wouldn't be so restricted to Terran space, but that's not going to happen. Terrans are too stubborn and resentful to embrace trading some governmental power to others, especially when those others used us as toy soldiers, putting us in this situation in the first place. As if they didn't save our asses before that. Don't get me wrong, I have my own shit against Central Galactic as a government, but at least they have maintained genuine unity of the most diverse citizens of species and cultures. Exactly what my people have struggled to do without the idea of conflict threatening our very existence, the redhead says, as her eyes begin to stare out into empty space.
I truly hope for the best regarding your people's future, Simone. Although it's uncertain to most, I earnestly hold the belief that one day the Terrans will stand proud among every other species in equal measure.
The captain responds with a slow nod. Simone shakes her head to refocus. It will be long after my time if it does happen, but yeah, just dreams right now. Anyway, SJ having fun? She redirects the conversation while leaning down towards her kid, still perched on the captain's shoulder.
Ha, indeed. They will be a capable vessel pilot in no time,
Chocnook says with a jovial swing of his grasper. Well, great. I hope you don't mind keeping an eye on him while I'm ashore, until Chuck comes around for him, the Terran asks, as she gives the retuffing scratches.
Of course, the captain assures. SJ has proven rather astute in vessel operations.
And in our available arsenal soon, from what I hear, Simone adds with a wink, before she turns around. Alrighty, I'm going to wait in the cargo bay. Remember to completely lock down the ship when I step out. The Grat are in charge of security while I'm gone.
Aye, aye. May your triumphant return to your spawning grounds prove fruitful, Miss Thatch.
We'll see. Be good, SJ. Simone farewells. I would very much like to join you, Chuck insists in excited bounces. Seeing where you grew up sounds amazing. Simone scoffs and shakes her head at the Callie's audacity. Chuck, we are literally landing in a few minutes. You can't just spring this up on me at the last second, she replies in a baffled chuckle. I know. But when will I ever have another chance? I'd very much like to meet the people you grew up with, Chuck points out, while pressing herself up against the Terran plea. This isn't a social visit. Okay, it sort of is, but I need incognito. I need to produce eyes on me. And a pretty little caddy like you is just going to draw all the eyes, Simone argues. Well, what do we make a cover story? I can be nothing more than a prospector looking for asteroids that would be suitable for a startup mining company. And I'm here to meet with my future potential neighbours. Oh, and you can be my trusted, rugged lead engineer. Yes, you seem a bit rough around the edges, but deep down you have a burgeoning passion to revolutionise mining technology and dream of enriching the universe, becoming a legend in your own right. However, you recently become distracted with your work. Against your driven passions, your heart has been also claimed by your wonderfully bold and daring prosecutor. Standard day by day. The tension between us became tighter and tighter, until one night we both gave in to our feelings. It was a glorious night of passion, but since then, there's been an awkwardness between us. Was it a heart singing, or a one-night experience to simply settle our urges? Are we to do it again, or continue on never knowing? Chuck's fancy is interrupted by a gently cupping Terran paw over her mouth. Chuck, what fucking movies have you been watching? The redhead inquired, with an amusing shaking of her head. The Callie's eyes widened and flashed continuously. Research? She chirped softly. Simone stares at her for a good long moment, trying to process how to respond. I think you're starting to discover things about yourself, hun, and I'm all for it. Can't wait to hash that out later, but that ain't gonna fly in public, she whispers, as she places her hands on the Callie's shoulders. It's important that no one other than the person I'm here to see knows I'm here, alright? I'm not wearing this get-up for a roleplay sesh. I'm sorry. Can you please stay on the ship? Chuck's eyes fade a bit in disappointment. If you really think it's best, she concedes. Thank you, Simone says, as she brings the Callie in for an appreciative hug. The floor trembled as the ship presumably made its landing.
Opening the cargo bay doors,
Chalknock announces over the intercom. Wish me luck, Simone says, as she pulls away and flips up her collar, and lowers her goggles to better hide her face. May the stars guide you, Chuck nods right before the popping of the door's opening occurs, and the ramp extends down. Immediately, Simone is hit with a scent of pure nostalgia. It's hard to describe, like a unique cocktail with a very distinctive blend of smells. It's what she once associated with home, and in a way it still does. The Terran rolls her shoulders and begins her steady steps down the ramp and into a fairly large visitor docking bay. Faded yellow paint marked rectangular floor sections for ships to park. Most are empty, but at a quick glance Simone sees a herd of kids using a very familiar section as a baseball field. Some traditions don't die. Down the other way, she sees a few circular cluster shuttles with tarps tented in between to create a sort of abode. The strong smells of barbecue indicate that the not quite legal rustic restaurant was still in business. Old Ted must still be kicking. Simone can't help but to stop and stare. Already she can tell that almost nothing has changed. That alone brings her so much peace of mind and heart. Despite all the insane turns her life has taken, They can't be this constant. Hey, we don't get such fancy ships flying for these parts often, though she's definitely seen better days. A man cheerily speaks up. Looking for some patchwork to be done, or do you need a restock? If you have time, I'd recommend you and your crew head right over there to Ted's shack. Best brisket burgers in all the Lom's system. Got killer salads too for those inclined. Simone looks over to see the approaching man in far dirtier, well-worked coveralls. In his gloved hands is a flickering tablet with a check-in procedure already half filled out. His dark 5 o'clock face is riddled with a speckling of tiny healed-over burn marks. Of course he would follow in his father's footsteps in being a check-in greeter in between repair work. Simone immediately recognizes his still glowing charismatic smile, paired with the fact that he has his dreadlocks in the exact same ponytail since she last saw him as a teenager. Clearing her throat, Simone panics and attempts to speak in a higher pitch. Yeppers, we're just running some prospecting trips. Yeah, we may order in some rations later, but I'm just here to meet up with someone who may know a bit more about the area. Need me to sign for anything? She says, dying a bit inside from the horribly executed accent she ended up using. The man slows his gait, and eyes narrow. Holy shit, Simone Thatch? He proclaims way too loudly. Simone's jaw drops and her mind freezes up. She didn't account for one of her few childhood friends being the very first face to encounter. No? She attempts to recover in a confused voice, but from the look in the man's eyes, she knows her discreet mission is over before it starts. Like hell you're not, how's it been? The man greets with open arms and a wide, excited smile. Simone's shoulders slump as the man gives her a welcoming hug with heavy slaps on her back. She grants a returning slap on his and shakes her head. For crying out loud, Jackie, can't you fucking see I'm not wanting an announcement? She scoffs before pulling away. What? You thought you were pulling a fast one? Girl, you always build like a damn tank. The hat and coveralls can't hide that. Jackie chuckled, with her hand still on her shoulder. What's with that voice? Nothing, just... Damn it. Look, I'd appreciate it if you kept this more on the down low. I'm not sure what you heard, but I have some real heat in my back. Government heat, she explains, catching sight of a few of the playing kids stopping to curiously watch. Pff, as if anyone cares. Who's going to snitch, Ted? Old Fudd wouldn't risk his little shack for any stack of credits. Besides, we're an independent colony now. No love here for the Union's bullshit. Jackie replies with a wave of his hand. No, I'm so... Wait, independent? Since when? On the mix in charge around here now? Simone asks. I mean, technically, but with what enforcement? The Union pretty much cut us loose. They barely even offered relocation to the other colonies. As if. For all intents and purposes, we pretty much run full independent outside of the tax we send the Mix way. The man clarifies with a proud smirk. Okay, wow. But I still can't risk someone tossing a message to the Union. It'll be trouble for everyone. Understand? Simone states with absolute seriousness. Jackie shakes his head and holds up a pointer finger before activating his comm. Hey, Tavish, you'll never guess who I spotted exiting the fancy ship. Oh, you already got us on camera, huh? I know, right? She's almost as broad as her dad now. Yeah, she says that the Union is looking for her. Thanks, bud. He then shrugs and smiles at the short woman. We'll be filtering all communications off this colony until you leave. If Union comes later, we'll play dumb, he updates. Seriously, Simone responds, feeling a bit jarred by the worst-case scenario spinning into the best base so quickly. Geez, Simone, I know you've been off doing who knows what, but surely you remember we take care of our own around here. So who's the Cali? And the, green ones? He inquires, peeking around the redhead. Simone turns back to see Chuck, Meek and Nodrin all standing by the doors to get a glance around. She sighs and waves them over. Jig's up, guys, you're free to come out, she grunts. The two grats springs down the ramp, looking every direction with burning curiosity. Several of the far-off kids begin to point and speak amongst themselves in awe of the new green species. The one in particular is convinced that they are just overgrown Noxie. In any case, their practice game has come to a complete halt. I'm Chief of Security for this vessel, and these two are my subordinates, Meek and Nodrin. Guys, this is one of my childhood friends, Jackie. Greetings! I'm aroused to meet you, Mickey blurts out. Both Terrans turn to her with raised eye-tufts. Excuse me, I'm afraid I'm a married man, Jackie responds with a flushed face. Mickey, you mean say excited, use wrong word, Nodrin quickly informs. Oh, mistake. Still on Galactic Standard, excited to meet you, Mickey corrects. Jackie leaned back and let out a hearty laugh. Oh boy, thank the stars. Donna's a sharp woman, but the last thing I need is rumors circulating. Good to meet ya, he finally says, wiping moisture from one of his eyes. Wait, seriously? You and Donna? Simone cuts in. You hated each other's guts.
A lot changed while you were off gallivanting through the stars. We have twins now, if you can believe it. Jekka replies with a smug shrug.
No kidding. The thought of kids with your silver tongue and her piercing bitch face sounds like a terrifying combo, Simone grunts out, crossing her arms.
Tell me about it. Not even 6 years old yet, and they are a handful. Good kids, though. Couldn't be prouder. The man chuckles with a much softer and warm smile. How about you? Not one to settle down, I'd imagine.
Fuck, I tried not to, believe me. But... Simone gazes at the approaching Callie, who has taken out time to absorb this new place. This one will be in good.
Jackie's eyebrows lift up once more towards the Callie and back at Simone. How have you not broken her like a twig? He half-joked. Simone rolls her eyes and sucks his arm half-heartedly.
A lot of smooth jazz and sheer fucking luck, she answered sarcastically, causing another burst of laughter from the man.
Finally giving the two Terrans her full focus, Chuck came up with flickering eyes.
Oh, hello. Jackie, is it? My name's Chuck. It is a pleasure to meet you, she chirps in a bounce. I'm, a prospect...
Fiancé. Chuck's my fiancé, Simone interrupts, before the Callie can present her fantasy. She is also the ship's custodian.
Ah, dipping your pen in the company's ink, I see. Jackie teases with a shoulder jab. Glad to see somebody wrangle this one. Happy to meet you.
Hey, she's the one who hired me in a dingy bar side alley. Besides, I was more of a contractor sort of deal, Simone defends, as she turns to take hold of the Callie's waist from the side and pulls her close, causing Chuck's eyes to flash excitedly once more. Not my fault she couldn't resist these goods. Chuck bashfully begins to tap her lower appendages together, very much enjoying being held in this manner. Jackie smirks and shuts off the datapad in his hand.
So, why are you here really? Come to dig out some stashed away cocoa slap pie treasure? They last forever, so you may be in luck, he asks.
Nah, I still carry my supply with me. No, I was actually hoping to speak with Denver about something, the redhead informs.
Oh, Denver. I'm sorry, but he passed on about 2 years ago now. Heart problems, and we couldn't get a replacement in time, Jackie says apologetically.
No shit, Simone mumbles, both saddened and annoyed that her plan was completely in vain. Unless, you wouldn't know if much of his stuff is still stored away, like a contact book or a journal. It's important.
Some of his stuff from his old unit should still be in storage, I think. If you'd like, I can send somebody to check it out, the man offers.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. I'm not going to take anything. I just need info. Simone nods gratefully.
No problem. We'll get someone on it right away. In the meantime, feel free to treat yourself. But first, I'm dying to see Ted's face when he spots you, Jackie says, as he starts to lead the group away.
Don't you have a job to do?
Simone jestingly pesters. I'm already working overtime. That can deal if I take an extended break. Jackie waves away. Simone steps to follow, but looks back at the 3 others next to her.
Don't venture far, but if you two would like to take a look around, that should be alright. Just be careful, she allows.
Mickey's 4 eyes expand, and she rapidly nods.
I wish to learn game. Child game. Looks fun,
she says, pointing back at the gaggle of kids still curiously overwatching. The redhead smirks.
Suppose it's better than them training you all over the place? Just be a bit more careful around the mix. They are Deathworlders, but they aren't quite as durable as Terrans, she grunts.
Thank. Come, Nodrin,
Mickey cheers, pulling Nodrin back to scamper towards to where the sports field is.
What about the others in the ship? Chuck pointed out.
Simone bit at her cheek and scratched the back of her neck, but admits they've been cooped up for quite a while. So she opens a line to Chalknook, Finn and Seven.
Hey, you three can venture out as long as you stick together. I still recommend locking down the ship though, Chalknook, she says.
Excellent. What of SJ? Wish me to keep a watch? The Captain responds.
Actually, I'll take him off your hands. I'm right at the bottom of the ramp, the Terran decides.
Very good. After a short wait, the 4 remaining on board pour out together, and the ramp recedes back up into the ship. Simone rests a hand on the Trumble's shoulder, allowing her child to skitter up her arm and rest against the side of her neck.
Good kiddo, Simone coos. I'm sure you're hungry, huh?
In response, the Tiefling hisses excitedly, and crawls to the other side of Simone's neck. Hold up. Not only are you hitched with a Callie, but you're saying that you're the parents of a Wataf? How the hell did that happen? Jackie inquires in disbelief.
I got lucky, Simone simply replies, as SJ rubs her small head against the corner of her jaw.
You're living one hell of a life, Simone. Damn, the man remarks, as he continues towards Ted's barbecue shack.
More than you'll ever know, the redhead whispers under her breath,
before moving her fiancé and kid to follow.
The entrance to this shack is a simple parting of tarps. Within are tables and decorative lighting consisting of modified floodlights. All except one of the shuttles are closed off. The odd one out has an entire custom horizontal opening where cooking smoke, smells and sounds plume out. There are a few workers eating in what's probably their usual spots. Thankfully, only a few give the newcomers a curious glance. "Hey Ted, take 5 and get your old ass out here. I got a surprise for you," Jackie calls in for the opening.
For all that is holy, Jack, this better be good. I have several to-go orders to wrap up before mid-shift of the mines.
A strained voice thrusts back, soon followed by the appearance of a grumpy, husky Mick with snow-white scales and a thick, drooping moustache-like feelers peers out. His red, squinting eyes take in the new patrons.
What? What is it? Want me to roast up some Kelly rump?
He says in a teasing jest.
Oh, excuse me?
Jack responds a bit offended. Jackie rolls his eyes and signals for Simone to lose the hat and goggles. She does so, freeing her mane of wild red fur. An instant flicker of recognition comes across the old Mick's flat face.
Oh my!
He utters, as he moves down the shuttle and out of the sliding door. He hovers on a chair device, revealing atrophied legs and limbs mostly covered by an oily old apron.
Is that Robert's little Spitfire I see?
He asks sweetly, demeanor completely flipping. "Hey Ted, still feeding the troops?" Simone replies, with a big dumb smile on her face.
What else would I be doing? Now lean down, let me get a good look at ya,
Ted says, reaching both his graspers and face feelers upwards. The redhead removes her kid in her hand and does as requested. Dry and cracked graspers clasp the size of her face, and every feelers gain a clearer image of the Terran's now growing features.
Just like your father. After they shipped you off to war, I was worried I would outlive the last thatch. Thank the stars,
Ted says, as he releases Simone. "Takes more than a few wars to kill me. Too damn stubborn," Simone chuckles, as she pats the old man's shoulder. "And they may not have my nose, but there's another generation of thatch." She carefully brings SJ to the front and center. "Be nice, SJ," she warns.
Well, look at that. How am I not surprised?
Ted muses, before giving the tough child some back scratches.
Don't suppose you're staying long?
"Unfortunately, no. We have a lot on our plate right now. Just a quick visit," the Terran replies honestly.
Ah, pity. Well then, allow me to put a lot on another plate for you. Can't leave without Ted's barbecue. The old usual. And for Callie friend here, he offers.
"I wouldn't dream of skipping town without it," Simone says. "And this is my fiancée. I think she'll really enjoy your famous ribs, just without the sauce."
Fiancé? Oh my. She treating you good?
Ted whispers, though he is still clearly hurt by all. Simone blinks hard at tears that hit her out of nowhere. "Yeah, she does," Simone whispers back in a chuckle or cry. She can't honestly tell.
Wonderful! A usual, ribs, and a special something for the kid. Consider it all my wedding gift, Ted declares before hovering back into the kitchen.
"I'll go wrap up my work and meet back up with you after you're done," Jackie casually salutes before checking out. "Thanks, Jackie," Simone replies. The three sit at the closest table, clearly hearing the old chef whistling a happy tune. "You look very happy, Simone," Chuck chirps as she reaches and takes hold of Simone's paw. The redhead internally laughs, her body shivering. "You know, I'm such a big idiot, right?" she responds, wiping her face dry. "How so?" "I thought I could never come back. And sure, maybe I can't ever really stay here long, but man." Simone's eyes fall onto SJ, who's standing up in an S statue on the table and locking in on the wondrous smells coming from the shuttle. "As a kid, you don't really fully comprehend how many people actually care about you. Even after I got over my mean streak, I thought this place would move on from me in a heartbeat. But it hasn't, and I'm still worth caring about. I feel like an idiot for not realizing that sooner. I lost more than I thought, and yet, now I have more than I thought. I never imagined that I'd be so rich in life. It's amazing." Chuck squeezes the Terran's paw supportively and leans in, kissing her cheek. Stepping out of the elevator, it opens up to a walk lane. Simone, Chuck, SJ and Jackie step out to little to no foot traffic. "And this floor is where I'm living these days," Jackie announces, as he shows off the windowed view of the walkway that overlooks the majority of the colony from above. "First escape space if something goes wrong, huh?" Simone comments as she brings Chuck and SJ to the window. "Whoa, it's so pretty," Chuck says, as she peers out to the left, hooking connecting domes and tower structures, contrasting to the comparatively near barren asteroid landscape surrounding it. Though even from up here, the group can see many wheeled vehicles traversing the surface, most in an orderly fashion, while a few went in their own rogue directions. The expanse of space above is crisp without an atmosphere to cloud it. For Simone, at one point in her life, this was all that reality had in store for her. Just this and parts of media from a lost age. Although it still strikes hard in her nostalgia, Simone can only see it as a place. She has seen so much in her time wandering the stars, good and bad. Many places are more grand, impressive, dangerous, awe-inspiring, etc. It's not a mental place for her to be, but one thing's for certain. She's happy to be here. "Hey, Simone, can I ask you something?" Jackie says, as he fists his hands in his pockets. "Shoot." "Sam was shipped up to the academy too, right? What happened to her? Her family got her ashes back, but they said her death was classified. I've seen how you two were really close at one point. I was just hoping you would know." Closing her eyes, Simone bit at her cheek in somber consideration. She died following orders. When the dust settled, a lot of innocent lives were saved, she answers vaguely, trying her best to hide the shaking. "I see. Sorry, that must have been a lot to ask, but I think her family will appreciate the closure. Thank you. Glad she went out a hero at least," Jackie replies, before moving down the walkway. Pushing past the horrible imagery of betrayed eyes condemning her, Simone nods, not having the heart to correct him.